a sleeping bag and just like pulled it over top of me and just slept like that for the rest of the night.
Makes perfect sense. So yeah, that's a very good piece of advice then. Always have to be mindful of the bugs here in the ADK, that's for sure. No matter what time of year, but especially if you go out there in like, June, May if it's nice, dude, bugs are bad. Black flies in particular, bad news up here in those months. So be mindful of that. All right, so day 2 ended at Mud Lake. So that was a 17-mile day, did you say?
Yeah, roughly 17 miles.
17. Okay, so day 2. Now, did you on day 1 at Woods Lake, did you jump in the water at all, or are we
Yeah,
not
I did.
showerless, but washless at this point, or did you go in the
Yeah.
lake?
So basically what I did and what I would recommend doing on your trip is I had a specific bandana that was for like camp towel, like washing myself kind of a thing. And I just put that in Woods Lake. It was obviously fresh at the time. And I used that and I just kind of like scrubbed myself a little bit. And I also carried wet wipes. And in addition to the wet wipes, I also carried two freezer bags. One was my trash for like wrappers and stuff, and the other was like toilet paper, wet wipes kind of a thing.
Hmm.
Just to kind of like double seal that from smells and also just to make sure it doesn't like blow all over the place. But that's what I did. I brought two bandanas. One was just to have around my head if I needed it, and the other one was for doing other business.
Of course. All right. Very good. Good advice. All right. So day 2, you slept at the lean-to. The bugs were eating you.
Yep.
You used your tent as a sleeping bag. Perfect.
Yep.
So anything else to report that night, or you have a good night's sleep?
The night's sleep was actually pretty good after the bugs were like kind of mitigated. Um, Woke up to the sound of loons, which was just amazing. The bugs obviously
Perfect.
weren't out, and I got started about 6 a.m. and yeah, I had my peanut butter packet.
Now, were you setting alarms while you're out on this trail, or were you just waking up when you'd wake up? Obviously, when you're
No.
outside camping, you don't, it's not like you're at home where you're going to sleep in until 10 or 10:30. But did you plan to start at 6 each day, or did you just kind of naturally wake up and just get to it?
So I had a like a really cheap like Casio watch, and I set it for 7 o'clock in the morning, and I also set it for 4:30 p.m. So the point of that was I wanted to be on the trail or at least wake up by 7 o'clock, just so that I didn't like sleep until like 10,
Sure,
11 o'clock. You know what I mean?
of course.
So I did that, and a lot of times I really just like kind of woke up with the sun or woke up whenever I heard the loons or any birds chirping. Like really, for me, I'm a sensitive sleeper, so the minute I start to see any light change, I usually wake up, and it was nice. I was able to get started really early, crank in some miles before the bugs woke up. But and the whole point of having the 4:30 alarm was just I wanted to be off the trail, and like that was the point where it was like if I wasn't anywhere that I was supposed to be, I was to start looking around for some place to like set up, and that way, you shouldn't be setting up your tent and your bareback at night, like when it's dark. It's just not a good
Sure.
idea.
All right, cool. So day 3, we're starting at Mud Lake. So what was your intended mileage for the day, and how'd we do?
Yeah, so this was my first real big day. I was going to go from Mud Lake straight to Spruce Lake Lean-To number 3, which was a 20 mile, 25-mile day, if that, I think. It's definitely in the 20-mile range.
Yeah, that's a
And
big day
so,
as I'm looking at the map
yep,
here.
big day. I was so that was my goal, and usually I kind of had like like a midway point that I would get to and kind of like assess where I'm at, like how do I feel, emotionally, physically, and stuff like that. So I got started, and this was a really just like a beautiful walk in the Adirondack Park, in my opinion. It was just so much ferns and moss and just beautiful trees. And it was really just kind of like a downhill slope for me. Um, and then I got to this awesome footbridge, and you're crossing the West Branch Sakadaka River, and you're crossing into White House, I'm sorry, at this point. And that was really cool. It was like lit up with the sun, and everything was just glowing. It was like that golden hour morning glow, which was beautiful. And that's when I saw the next trail register, and I saw somebody from the Northville-Placid Trail Facebook group ahead of me. And it was kind of like a cat and mouse game. Like I was always trying to catch up with a few of these people that I remember were starting at the same time as me, and I always seemed to either be a day ahead or a day behind somebody else. So I kept going, and somewhere, oh yeah, so I got to Hamilton Lake Stream, and I ran into a group of people. There was five, let's say, adults in their like early 40s, maybe late 40s, and they were just like having a grand old time. I saw them, and they were filtering some water, and they kind of stopped me, and we were talking like, "Oh, where are you headed?" And like, "Oh, we're heading south, or we're doing a section," or can't remember exactly what they're doing. I think they're doing a section, and they're going southbound. And they're like, "Are you by yourself?" And I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Oh my God." I'm like, "Yeah."
They were impressed, as am I.
Yeah, yeah, they thought it was cool, but they were definitely like, "Wow, that's crazy." I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, I feel okay for now." They're like, "Have you seen any like, bears or anything?" I was like, "Not yet." And and I was like, "I kind of hope that I don't." And so I left them, and they continued on, and you know, so I actually ended up seeing the bear.
Of
And
course.
that was maybe only an hour or two after the Hamilton Lake Stream lean-to there. And it was, yeah, I want to say maybe a mile, maybe a half mile before actually getting into the trail register for Passaico.
Okay. So of course you're going to see a bear at that point. That's like the
Right.
Hollywood version of your story, but it's actually what happened.
Yeah.
Figures. So wait, so let's. I got to hear more. So, what was that bear encounter like?
So I was just walking, and I just started hearing this crashing, just disarray that was going on to the left of me in the woods. And I turned around, and there was just like this big fuzzy thing running across, running away from me, thankfully, but it took off like so fast. I was like, wow. And I was like nervous at first, and like my heart was just like racing because I was like, I just saw a bear and I'm here by myself. And I'm like just texting home on the Garmin bear, like just that, like just so that people know that I'm seeing a bear right now. And yeah, and I'm like, this is good. He's going away from me. And the thing is, like, I've seen bear before, even in the Adirondacks, and every time that I have seen a bear, I've been able to smell it. And I didn't smell this bear at all. And this bear thankfully smelled me or saw me or heard me and just took right off, which was very good.
Sure,
I was
that's what
happy
that's
about
what we
that.
want.
Yeah, definitely ideal situation. So, it was definitely alert. I had like a little pocket knife with me, even though like it probably in the grand scheme of things wouldn't do anything, but it just made me feel better. I had it out and with me. So just, keeping my eyes peeled, and I just continued to walk, and I got to Route 8 there in Passaico. Finally hit
Back to
civilization.
civilization.
Yep. So I got to that point, and I was looking around. So I heard some rumors that there's this Oxbow Inn, and there was some good cheeseburgers. I heard that you can even stay there. And I looked around. I saw no sign of a diner, and I was like, I'm really not trying to walk in any direction that I'm unsure of that is going to add more to my day, because I know that I'm going pretty far today. So I just walked in the direction of the trail. I was like, if I see something that I could stop at and eat, I'm going to stop there, but I'm not going to walk out of my way. Um,
Now, are
from
there
what I
signs
heard,
there for the trail once you get into the town, like along the
yes.
roads? There's also Northville-Placid Trail signs.
Yep, yep.
Okay,
So
cool.
yeah, so when you come out to the road of Route 8 there, when you're just coming into Passaico, you look left, and just up the street, there's a Northville-Placid Trail, big brown DEC sign, so you can see that. Yep. I started walking down that road, and that's the same road that you're going to possibly pick up your resupply package if you decide to go that direction. You walk right past the post office, so it's
Perfect.
it's right there. And then, I'm walking along, and I see these two people riding a bicycle, and I'm like, so is there any burgers in this town? They're like, what? I was like, yeah. They're like, are you hungry? I'm like, a little bit. I just kind of was wanting something fresh to eat. They're like, well, I think the Oxbow Inn might actually be closed. And I remember people telling me that it was actually open that day. And I had a feeling, but I wasn't trying to like rope these people into changing their plans to like help show me where something was, because I didn't need it. I wanted to put a dent in the food that I already had because it was heavy, and I was carrying it for the rest of my trip. So I kept going. So that, the road walk was really nice because like there's nothing to trip on or anything like that. So that was nice.
Some nice mindless walking at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, and stress free. Like I was away from bears, so that was cool. And as I was walking, this gentleman stopped in a truck. So being a female, my first instinct was alert, alert, you know. So this guy stops and he rolls down the window and he's like, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know the airport on your right has some bathrooms." He's like, "Feel free to wash up." He's like, "It'd be really good." I'm like, "Thank you so much. That was really nice of you to stop and tell me that." And he just continues on. I think he actually went to the post office. But as you're walking toward the post office, you will actually see a sign for the airport and you just walk up the road. It kind of looks like a far walk, but it's really not. And it's totally worth it because the sinks are huge. You can totally get in there elbow deep and get nice and cleaned up. And that's exactly what I did. I even washed my clothes and I
Nice.
strapped them to the back of my pack to dry off. So
And
I
that was a
wore,
midday wash down, basically, which
yep,
must have felt incredible.
and good intermittent like wash down. And I felt so good after.
Very cool. All right, cool. So, and right after that, it looks like there's another trail register as you go right back into the woods.
Yep. So I think it's Haskell's Road. Yep. So you walk down that road, and right before you get into that trail register, you're going to see Bob and Matt's Campwood, and that's their site for their future headquarters. And if anybody is looking for more information on the Northville-Placid Trail, there's a group on Facebook for Northville-Placid Trail, and if you're on there long enough, you will hear about Bob and Matt's Campwood. Excuse me. And they are super helpful. This gentleman and his family like provide rides to people. He like this area is like grassed off and it literally says hikers welcome Bob and Matt's Campwood. And you're allowed to camp there if you want to. And they're really great people. So you're gonna walk past that and you're just gonna go right uphill. And I felt like I was getting high enough in elevation, so I decided to take my phone off of airplane mode and I had service. So I made a call into home. It's just saying where I was mentally and physically, and all systems were a go. Checked in on the Instagram. I think I even did like a live feed just to show everybody that I was still alive because I'm sure I had some people wondering like if I was even going to make it through. So I just kind of like checked in with some people real quick and then got back on my business. And this was kind of just like rolling hills for a while. And I think that I even like walked along some streams and eventually I started just getting deeper and deeper. I saw what looked to be a campsite on this Ford Brook, but I didn't actually, it was actually like a lumber campsite. It was like cleared out. And I was looking for it, but I eventually did find it. And yeah, you just continue to walk along like this like stream bed for a while. And it wasn't really very muddy. I ran into an older gentleman that had like a nice walking stick, and I believe it might have even been along his land, I'm thinking, because he was probably pushing like close to 90, he looked, and I was like, wow, this is impressive that this gentleman was out here. He's just like walking around, waved on to me, had a little fishing pole, and I thought that was super cool.
Nice, nice. So when you left the town, you're as I do the math here just quickly, you're still about a good 10 miles, maybe a little more from the Spruce Lake number 3 lean-to.
Yeah.
So how were you feeling as you left the town? Obviously washed up a bit, so you were probably feeling pretty good, but knowing you still had another 10 miles, what were you feeling like?
I was feeling cautiously optimistic at best. I
Great.
mean, definitely the shower or the wash up really helped me feel a lot better. And then also talking to my boyfriend and people at home and just like made me feel a lot better. And they're like, "You're doing so great, keep going." So that was a huge morale booster. And I was like, wow, I'm 3 days into this thing and I'm killing it.
You're
So
doing it. You're out there, and
yeah.
you've already passed your first bear, so you're really doing it at this point.
Yeah, I was like, I'm in this right now. And so it felt like I just started getting a little bit frustrated because you start to get tired and hungry and it's just like, all right, I'm ready to be like done for the day. I started getting closer to Spruce Lake and I could actually smell fire well before I could see the lake. And I was like, oh no, like I'm hoping there aren't going to be people at the lean-to that I intended on staying at just because like it wasn't that I didn't want to share with anybody, but I'm a female by myself in the woods. So like
Sure.
there's a whole different set of concerns that I had in my mind that I was just trying to be cautious about. And It was a group of southbounders at Spruce Lake Lane 2, number 2. I'm sorry, number